The galactic community had made many mistakes in their long history of expansion, but none quite as spectacular as underestimating human pack-bonding instincts. Lena sat at her workstation aboard the Zenith Traverse, a multi-species research vessel charting the unexplored regions of the Andromeda sector. Her fingers moved mechanically across the holographic interface, running the day's 7th diagnostic on the ship's quantum drive systems. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, and her usually vibrant brown hair hung limp around her face. "Running Analysis Protocol 77 Charlie," she muttered into her comm, her voice flat with exhaustion. From the engineering bay 3 decks below, Mark's voice crackled through. "Copy that. Lena, you sound dead on your feet. How long have you been at it?" 18 hours, give or take." She rubbed her temples. "Commander Vrix wants the full report by 0600 tomorrow. Chief Scientist Queller needs the particle scan data recalibrated. And Navigator Thrin just sent me another urgent request for sensor array modifications." "That's insane. You need to—" "I'm tired, Mark." The words came out as barely a whisper. "I'm just so tired." What Lena didn't know was that she wasn't alone in her quarters. Curled in the ventilation shaft directly above her workspace was Pip, a juvenile Zytherian, a species that resembled Earth's otters. If otters were covered in iridescent blue fur and possessed 6 legs, Pip had been adopted by the human crew 3 months ago when they'd found him orphaned on a derelict station. The Zytherians were known throughout the galaxy for 3 things: their adorable appearance, their genius-level intelligence, and their absolutely terrifying loyalty to those they considered family. Pip's large, amber eyes narrowed. His tired human, had been hurt. Not physically, but the cub's empathic senses could feel the weight crushing down on Lena's spirit. He chittered softly, a sound that translated roughly to "protecting packmate" in Zytherian, and disappeared into the ventilation system. Commander Vrix was the first. The Krillian officer was reviewing personnel schedules in his quarters when his door chimed. "Enter," he commanded, his 4 eyes never leaving his datapad. Nothing entered. But his life support controls suddenly began cycling through emergency protocols. Temperature plummeted. Oxygen levels fluctuated wildly. His security console screamed warnings about a level 5 environmental breach. "Computer, what is the nature of—" Vrix's words died as every screen in his quarters displayed a single message in perfect standard. "You made Lena sad. Apologize, or systems get worse." Below the text was a crude drawing of what appeared to be a human stick figure with a frown, and an arrow pointing to a crossed-out image of Vrix. It took the commander 45 minutes trapped in his own quarters before he finally sent a ship-wide message relieving Lena of all duties for the next week, with full apology. Chief Scientist Queller was next. The arthropod-like researcher discovered that every single sample in his laboratory had been rearranged. Months of carefully organized specimens were now sorted by color rather than classification. His notes had been edited, every instance of "urgent" or "immediate" replaced with "whenever Lena feels like it." No pressure. But the final straw was his morning nutrition paste. Someone had modified the dispenser. It now only produced a mixture that, while technically edible, tasted like what humans called wet socks and regret. A note was attached to the dispenser. "Taste like how you make Lena feel. Say sorry. I one may say sorry." Queller's apology was logged within the hour. Navigator Thrin lasted the longest, almost 6 hours. The stolid, rock-like Grythonian prided himself on his unflappable nature. When his navigation console started displaying children's cartoons instead of star charts, he simply worked from a backup terminal. When his backup terminal did the same, he switched to manual calculations. When he found his personal quarters filled with approximately 4,000 foam spheres, ball pit balls, he learned they were called. He simply waded through them to his sleeping platform. It was only when his morning alarm was replaced with a recording of Mark's voice saying, "Let Lena rest, you inconsiderate boulder," on loop, at maximum volume, at 0300 hours, That Thrin finally broke. His apology message included a personal commendation for Lena's work ethic and a promise that all future requests would be properly scheduled with mandatory rest periods. Mark found Lena in the observation deck the next morning. She was staring out at the stars, looking confused. "Did you see the messages?" she asked. All three of them apologized. "And I'm apparently on mandatory leave for a week." "Yeah, I saw." Mark tried to keep his expression neutral. "Weird, right? Very weird. It's like someone—" She paused, then her eyes widened. "Mark, where's Pip?" As if summoned, a small blue shape emerged from under a nearby console. Pip chittered proudly and bounded over to Lena, climbing up to perch on her shoulder. He nuzzled against her cheek, making soft, comforting sounds. "Pip," Lena said slowly, "did you terrorize 3 senior officers because I said I was tired?" The cub's innocent eyes looked at her. He chittered something that the translation implant rendered as, "Protect Pack. Always." Mark laughed. "You know what the galaxy says about humans, right? That we'll pack bond with anything? Laughley. Laughley. Laughley warg. Laughley warg. Laughley warg. Laughley warg. Yeah? They always forget the important part, that the bond goes both ways. And sometimes—" He reached over to scratch behind Pip's ears. "Sometimes what we bond with is a lot more dangerous than we are." Lena looked at the small, fluffy creature on her shoulder, remembering that Zytherians had once been apex predators on their homeworld before developing sentience. I should probably scold him. Probably. She didn't. Instead, she held Pip close and whispered, "Thank you." The cub chittered happily. In his simple but profound understanding, the equation was clear. Tired human equals sad human. Sad human was unacceptable. Problem eliminated. The galaxy would learn, as it always did with human-related incidents, that there were few forces more dangerous than a protective creature that humans had taught the meaning of love, and absolutely nothing more terrifying than that creature's interpretation of family loyalty.